Joining me now is the beautiful, incredibly talented mother of two, wife of one, friend to all, and newfound lover of sketch. What's up, brother?
What's up, brother?
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
The universe gives, the universe takes. I just take. I'm the reason CVS locks things up at night. Everybody, this is the host of the uber successful Keri Croft Show and my sister, Keri Croft. How are you, sweetheart?
Well,
you look
hello.
great.
I woke up like this. I'm sorry.
It doesn't happen by accident, does it?
No, brother. No,
No,
brother.
it doesn't, brother. Those of you listening who don't know sketches, go ahead and search him and you'll find out.
It's sketch, people. Love this guy.
Like Keri, like the rest of the world, you'll fall in love easily, genuinely. Very similar to when people meet me
That's what I was thinking.
on the streets.
Casey, sketch, right in line, right on brand.
Well, come on now. You love sketch though, right?
I love
Have to
sketch.
love him.
It's actually it's a big glass of water that this country needs is sketch. Actually, the world.
Right?
Google it.
Make some noise! Come on! This is football!
There's no pretense there. He's this authentic, genuine, kind, flawed, amazing person. I don't know. I just think it's really cool that he's risen to this level of fame so quickly.
Started as a streamer, he gaming, get online and you can see him. And this young man, I think he's 25-ish, maybe 26.
Mhm.
He just started saying really funny things spontaneously through Madden, through football. And he has, like Keri said, it's funny, like Theo Vaughn, he described him. I thought it was hilarious. He goes, you're like America's Winnie the Pooh.
He's the Winnie the Pooh of America and of the world, maybe.
That's what he said. He said, you're like America's Winnie the Pooh. It's like,
I love Theo
yeah,
Vaughn.
but isn't that the perfect way to describe him?
Uh-huh.
I mean, Theo Vaughn's a funny dude and he's edgy and he's funny, but at his core is just a warm, flawed, recovering, he's sober now. Underneath, like what people may perceive as like some huge personality or, like you, just incredibly stunning good looks, all these things is a genuine a connection. And when Theo had him on that podcast, oh my gosh, those two were just like yin and yang. They were like peanut butter and jelly. Frankly, with all the crazy stuff going on in the world, I mean, we could all use a little sketch, right?
True that, brother. Follow the light.
What's going on with the Keri Croft Show? Let's talk about the latest, the greatest.
So this Friday I have Chef Nikki. Chef Nikki is dropping at 8 a.m. She is Dave Chappelle's chef. And she started something called the High End Affair. And she's done all kinds of infused culinary experiences.
One of those. I wouldn't call it high end if you know what I'm saying.
She has done all kinds of she travels and does, like, she's done Snoop Dogg's parties. She's traveled
Dave Chappelle
with, like,
chef? You said?
Yeah, she's Dave. So she lives in Arlington.
Nice.
And she does all these like events for these celebrities. And so she has this whole dichotomy of like being in the UA bubble, but then traveling with these people. She's fascinating. And what's more is she majored in pharmacy at Ohio State. She's very, very smart. And so this whole topic of cannabis and psychedelics to be used as sort of like accessing your brain and sort of as a healing mechanism.
I like that.
I'm very excited for that episode to drop.
It's a great topic to listen to now if people are wondering about that, dabbling.
I did a speaking engagement yesterday at the Columbus Chamber of Commerce, which was really cool.
How'd that go?
Starting to dip my toe into the public speaking realm.
Okay.
I'll tell you how it went. I would liken it to like a piece of burnt dry toast.
I was gonna say like a saltine cracker.
And I was the hot butter and jam.
Yeah.
One girl was talking about Brene Brown quote, and then I ended it with a Lil Wayne lyrics, and it all balanced out. So hey, I'm for hire. If you want a little spice, you want to spice it up, I'm your girl. So yeah, it went
that's
really
fantastic.
well.
I can visualize that. Good for you. We're gonna have fun, you and me, every time you're on, because it's when we go to the mailbag. Ask Casey is what is being presented to the people. The topics can range from alcohol, sex, threesomes, foursomes, infidelity, the types of fun conundrums that people need our advice on. So what do you say we dive right in? I got 4 good ones today.
In it.
Right? I mean,
Hit
and
me.
again, I suppose I should preface this by saying that neither one of us are licensed physicians or psychologists of any kind. However, we do give free advice that you may or may not listen to. So take that for what it is. Number 1, Keri, 28-year-old female, married. Her sister-in-law is moving in. She's a recovering alcoholic and going through a bad divorce. I don't want to remove the alcohol from my home, and it's causing problems with my husband. What should I do? How should I approach it? You know what? It's funny. So it's like I moved in with you. Well, I'm just saying, right? It's like there. So there it is. So just so you guys, if this young lady's listening, yeah, pretty similar situation. I moved in with Keri and my brother-in-law when I was going through my divorce. Okay, so right out of the gate, that's a tough situation for everybody. So go ahead, Keri. Any thoughts on that?
I do have thoughts
Go
on
ahead.
this. First and foremost, you have to make sure that you're both on the same page around, is it a good idea for the sister-in-law to move in?
Mhm.
So are you the best option for the sister-in-law? Are there other avenues? Are both of you committed to that process? Because it isn't easy, and it's not going to be a fun, easy thing on your relationship or your life in general. It's just not. So there has to be some really great reason to let her move in. I mean, I get that you want to help and all that. And if there's nowhere else for her to go, then of course you would welcome them. But that needs to be resolved first. And then secondly, yeah, I mean, you may not want to remove alcohol from your house, but I think there's ways that you can make it less noticeable. Or if you're going to make that commitment on behalf of her and your husband, you're going to have to acquiesce to that, because what are you going to do? Have her come in and then have even bigger problems because she's, chugging wine in the bathroom? I mean, come on. Either say no totally, to letting her come in, or don't be a dick. Like,
well, okay. Are you all right? So
Yeah.
obviously, I too am. If you want to call it a recovering alcoholic, if you want to call it no longer an alcoholic, whatever you want to say, I'm 3,030 days sober. I'm in my 9th year, and it's I have a very interesting perception on alcohol being where I am now. And I I always tell people, make no mistake, when I speak to people, if they ask my advice, it's coming from a first ballot Hall of Fame drinker. Okay. It's not from someone who doesn't really know. If I understand drinking, here's the thing. If the sister-in-law is moving in temporarily and saying, hey, I can't have alcohol around me, like right now, I can be surrounded by alcohol. It does nothing for me to make me want to drink. The more I'm around people that are buzzed and drunk, the less I want to drink. But in this case, look, if you find yourself going, oh, well, I can't remove this alcohol, well then that in itself might be a little bit of a problem. Even if you drink, I only drink 2-3 glasses of wine a week. Okay, well, if you can't eliminate that wine for the sake of someone who's saying that they have a serious problem and they're recovering, that itself is a little bit of an issue that would probably need to be addressed. But yeah, I think ultimately, Keri, I agree with you. Bottom line, my recommendation would be to just put it aside, suck it up, right, Keri, for a few months,
Yeah.
and take the high road, if you will. And the high road, as we know, is it's wide open. There ain't no traffic jams on the high road, as they say, right? Number 2, 29-year-old male. When I'm intoxicated, I send nudes/snaps to a couple of former side pieces. That's classy. Currently in a serious relationship. When I wake up and I'm sober, nothing happens. I have no intention of it happening, so I don't feel like it's cheating. She doesn't know. Should I stop? Is it cheating?
Yes, you should stop. What's wrong with people?
One of your favorite lines is denial is what? More than a
river in Egypt?
Correct. Keri, some people just need to hear, you say it to them. Of course that's cheating. What the hell are you talking about? If you need someone to tell you, like, you know what I'm saying? Like when people marinate in here on stuff like, oh, maybe it is. Well, say it out loud. Say it out loud in front of somebody. If your husband or wife or significant other was sending, what if she was doing it, dude? You'd lose. Of course that's cheating. Are you out of your mind? Like that? Yes, that's cheating. And again, oh, here, ding, 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 ding. When I'm intoxicated, just Google what alcohol does after 2 drinks to the decision-making part of your brain. It puts it to sleep, right? I can remember driving. I can remember if I had, Keri, I can remember if I had like 2 tall, 2 20-ounce, the tall beers. I'd have like 2 of those. I'd feel a little buzz. I can remember going, like, thinking to myself, man, I shouldn't drive. True story. I'd have 5 more and then 3 shots of Makers. I'd be like, I'll drive you anywhere. So there's a reason you don't do it at 11 a.m. on a Tuesday when you're at work, as opposed to 2 in the morning on a Saturday when you're wait. I mean, and if you don't think it's cheating, wait till your girlfriend finds out. I'm sure that'll go over well. Right, Keri?
Hard stop.
Yes. Okay, so Keri and I are both in agreement. Yes, it's cheating. How do you approach it? You stop it. And if you ready? Now watch this. Watch the other side of the coin here. If you don't want to stop it, guess what we need to think about doing? Maybe not be in the commit. You see how it's not a committed. It's one or the other, kiddo. You can either get on the Titanic and suffer and find out on your own, or you can just watch the movie Leo, learn the same lessons, eat your popcorn. You can stay on the Titanic right now if you like, and it's going to end very badly. Or you can get off and not hit the iceberg. Number 3, married, 46-year-old female. I think my husband drinks too much. He denies it adamantly, saying, I don't know what you're talking about. I only drink on the weekends, and I have my own problems to worry about. Don't know what to do, what to say to him, or who to turn to. Well, you've turned to the right people. You've come to the right place. Casey on Tap with Keri Croft. Well, don't you worry. We'll get you there. We're gonna get you there. Keri, what do you think?
I mean, it's a hard one, because if you're not comfortable with the drinking and it's making you feel unsafe, and you're expressing your communication to your partner and they're not listening, that is not going to go in a positive direction. So if the person can't meet you part of the way, or at least be open to some, ways to sort of curb it or do some different things that don't involve drinking, I don't like the odds.
It's not good. Let me tell you this right now. It's not good. The great John Bon Jovi wrote, "It's all the same, only the names change." This right here is you just interchange names, ages. It's brutal, because clearly the person drinking has this person concerned. It doesn't matter how much, when, all these things. And when the person when a loved one is concerned, again, I know from experience. I know from experience, dude, as Chris Farley would say, you get so defensive and you will defend it. God, it just breaks my heart. I see it all the time. I mean, people think about this. Relationships. So this relationship that they're in right now, Keri, I tell people, you're in a threesome. Well, I would never be in a threesome. No, you're in a threesome. Most people are married to alcohol as well as their spouse. Most people. Like, it's so ingrained. It's so socially acceptable. It's so normal. Think about 95% of all the garbage that happens between people usually happens when you're impaired at some level. What happens is usually people are on the like they both get drunk together. What happens is when you start to have the discrepancy, like when one person either maybe wants to not get drunk as much, or right, and that's when you start to see the imbalance. And I've been to countless meetings. I do it all the time. I talk about it all the time. And the reality is this: whether it's your husband or your wife or your kids, it is shockingly heartbreaking to see how helpless. It's the most helpless thing. They ain't going to see it for you. They're not going to see it for the kids, their job. They have to look in the mirror and go, oh, I mean, seriously. And boy, especially the marginal drinkers, Keri, like the ones that'll tell you, oh, I drink on the weekends, or they'll always look to people like me, like, oh, Casey, you drink, oh, I'm not as bad as, or whoever, I'm not as bad as them. Well, it's not about that. It's about your relationship with alcohol and how it's affecting you. So the only advice I can have for this person is ultimately, I'd go to an Al-Anon meeting. That's for the family of people struggling with spouses or family members that are alcoholics, or because they blame themselves, right, Keri? Like, it's, why can't I get them to stop? What am I not saying right? Hey man, I'm gonna tell you something. Alcohol's it's something. It is something, man. It's the greatest trick the devil ever pulled, in my opinion. I mean, it is something. Next one, a little bit lighter, a lot lighter actually. Splitting checks. Splitting checks after a year of dating. Yes or no?
No. I mean, a year of splitting checks? No.
Hey, sir, we get the bill. We got to get to a movie. Can you just put that in two?
Yeah, I mean, you might as well just like do it. I don't know.
It makes me like, boy, I don't know. Here's an alternative. How about this? How about you here, Keri, I got it. You alternate every other time paying the whole bill.
Well, that would make more sense, I guess.
There it is.
But like,
there it is.
Problem solved.
Piece of cake. Last but not least, how about, why don't we end with a grand slam? I'm interested in pegging my boyfriend. How do I approach the subject?
What's that? Pegging him?
This might be whatever, man. Whether this is a prank or not, I don't care, because people actually do this. Yeah. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
What's that mean?
What it means, Keri, is she would put a strap on.
Oh no.
Well, I'm not. No. She's not asking if you are into it. She's into it. Wants to do it to the boyfriend, and any advice on how to approach? Hey, I've got this sexual fetish. Can I tell you something? Now, I've never had it. I've never had it done. However, I have had a woman ask me to do it to me. True story. How about that? True story. My God. And God bless her. So maybe this would be advice for you. This happened. This is probably like, I was drinking. So because her and I were out drinking. It was like 10 years ago, maybe, here in Cleveland, when I first opened, and it was, member, and attractive girl. And I mean, she's, I still see her out and about. I mean, and so help me God. I mean, we hung out. We hadn't even done anything like sexually yet. And it was like the second time we hung out, and she asked me if I was into pegging, and I said, what the hell's pegging? She told me what it was, and she wanted to do it to me. And I said, no, thank you. I love that you asked me, because I'm that kind of person. Like, I'm fascinated, no, but there you go.
I mean, if that's your fetish, cool. Like, I don't have any judgment of that. You got to find,
prostate.
Something you should know up front. Like,
the man's prostate's in there. That's why. You get in there, and you tap on the old button, and that controls. Well, I'm just saying it. That's what controls a man's
I believe it.
Well, prostate. So that's why people. That's why you have that. You get in there. I mean, look. If I had a woman's, little finger. I mean, who knows? If anything slipped in there a little bit, but not full blown pegging. She's asking about how do you approach it. I would approach it the same way this lady did with me 10 years ago. She just straight up said, hey, I'm into pegging. I'd like to explore that with you. What are your thoughts? You can write that down.
Agreed.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, Oh, full transparency. Just be honest
just
about
do
what
your
you
thing.
want. If they're your person, they'll like it.
Well, actually, interesting. I was just going to say, when it comes to stuff like that, I mean, you need, let's be honest. You have to be prepared for a negative out. You have to be prepared for a bad outcome. There's a chance that, you know, if it's your girl, like if you're in a relationship and that comes up like 6 months down the road or a year, I mean, you know, depending on, you know, who knows, insecurities or, you know, his religious upbringing or whatever the hell it is. You have to be prepared for him to, you know, not to respond with like, no, and I don't, you know, because then he's going to think that she's going to want to do that. And then it's not like, hey, I want to hold hands. Anything like golden showers, pegging, pooping, you could have one of two things. You could have an incredibly wonderful outcome, like, oh yeah, let's get it on. Or this is the last time we'll ever talk. There you go.
People are thirsty. They're thirsty.
But I think frankly, I think we just gave magically spot on, wonderful advice there today. What do you think?
Agreed.
Anything else today before we let you go? And we're going to have you on again next week. We're going to have a whole new fresh batch of questions. If you have questions, you can DM Keri, okay, or you can find me on TikTok at Casey Wandell, Facebook, Instagram, DM me, and we won't say your name. But if you've got a unique, interesting subject that you would like Keri Croft and Casey on tap to tackle for you, send them in and we'll get right to it. Any parting words, brother? Yep. Anything you'd like to say, brother, before we go?
I just say keep moving, brother.
Moving, brother. The universe gives, the universe takes. I just take. I'm the bad Salvation Army. I'm not goodwill, I'm bad will. All right, Keri, thanks for being here. You look beautiful. You rock, and we will talk to you next week.